intermission, is there?
Has all this murder hubbub left your head in a tizzy?
Huh?
Perhaps you need a short break. Something to lighten the mood and let you collect yourself.
What?
Something like a nice cup of tea. Welcome, one and all, to the first episode of Tozu's Tea Time.
What is happening here? This is something out of the blue. And tea time? I'm not expecting you to do this tea time for yourself.
If you haven't already, please sit back and relax. Here, we do not use our brains, but deal only in gossip. Now, a question from me to you. What are sheep good at, if anything?
Not because your head is a sheep.
Most humans, and some sheep, tend to respond with a resounding absolutely nothing. Sheep cannot create art or invent medicine. For goodness sake, they can't even perform music! Their limited speech and quadrupedal locomotion prevents them from reaching the heights of humans. They're practically glued to the lower echelons of the food chain. No matter how hard sheep may try, they will never be anything more than their number tags. I can't say I like that answer. Too pessimistic for me. Plus, what of the sheep who still try?
I'm lost already.
The sheep who realize their fate but continue to challenge it all the same. That they can be so determined to prove their worth when humans have all but deemed them microwavable meals. Isn't that something admirable? What a shame our sheep had to be so misguided. It seems that's about all the time we have. Thank you again for attending Tozu's Tea Time.
Didn't we get intermission? Doesn't mean we get to stay here?
No need for extravagant farewells. I've an inkling you'll be back for tea sooner than you can say Jack Robinson. Who's Jack Robinson? I have no idea.
I never ask.
Ta-ta!
Diana, now's your chance to defend yourself.
Okay, you never let me a chance to save right here. I thought for sure that we're done at that point already, or just leave safe here at that point, but okay, we're done intermission now, so we're back to matter at hand, so I don't know what's happening here.
Tell me what happened.
Where do I even start, though?
How about you begin by explaining why you went to the boiler room?
I want to know.
Why I went there? It was 'cause of a note.
Oh, the note? Do you have your own notice with you?
A note?
2 days ago, someone slid one into my room. I never got to see who. I just heard a knock. And when I walked over, there was a note under my door.
I don't remember any of this.
How are you still sleeping?
Sorry. It was midday-ish, and you weren't there at the time. And I didn't show you the note later because, well, I'll just read you what it said.
Oh, you have the note with you? Diana, as you're aware, it is our obligation to speak with those who blackmail we have obtained. And to receive your blackmail and reading the information disclosed in it, I believe the meeting between the two of us is warranted. In 2 days' time, please come to the underground boiler room at 8:45 a.m. Make sure to arrive promptly and close the door behind you. Wait, isn't that the same notes like how Wolfgang was saying? It says, the underground boiler room, but the time is different. And it said close the door. Maybe that might be, someone must have forged the letter, right? Because his note says 8:15. I think. That would remember time for like this time of dead, right? Maybe Diana might be saw Wolfgang, like he might be already dead beyond that point. To avoid disclosure, do not show anyone this letter. Do not dispatch me about it either, even in private. There's always the chance someone can hear. Wolfgang.
Wolfie wrote this?
I'm not sure there's his own handwriting, that's one thing. But isn't strangely the same day happened what Wolfgang says, but it's different time is different.
Wolfgang had Diana's blackmail? But didn't he have Jean's?
Yeah, but come to think of it, I mean, John, let me peek through Wolfgang's one.
Hold on a sec. If you take a closer look, the handwriting on that note, doesn't it resemble the handwriting on Wolfgang's note?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying! It's the same one, but a different time.
You're actually right. Even though Wolfgang's note has been water damaged, the words I can make out were in the same messy scroll as Diana's here.
Then someone else was posing as Wolfgang?
Yeah.
The killer, most likely. They must have thought his word was the only one Diana would follow.
Guess it worked, huh?
I didn't want to show this note earlier because I was scared of how people would try to twist it.
Why would anyone think that?
Like saying I faked the note, or that I decided to kill because of it. I thought it would be better to just stay quiet. I know you guys think I'm stupid for agreeing to meet in a place like the boiler room. And I am. I am stupid.
Nah, I feel bad for Diana.
I just didn't want to disappoint Wolfgang in case he really did write the note, which was why I left my room around 8:40 a.m. and went downstairs.
That's when she saw it.
Did you catch any strange movement down there?
No, it was just me. I did find the boiler room door hanging open a little bit, but I didn't think much of it. I just went inside and closed the door behind me, since that's what the note asked me to do.
What did you see inside the boiler room?
The boiler room was really dark, so the first thing I noticed was actually the security camera light.
True.
My eyes had to take a few seconds to adjust to everything else. But after that,
She saw it, right?
I finally saw him.
Did she saw him dying or? Oh. He looks like he's in pain. Wait, are you saying if Wolfgang is actually sick?
Wolfgang was lying in the water, making these weird noises. It didn't seem like he'd even notice me entering the room. Not until... Wolfgang? Hearing his name seemed to snap him out of his trance, because he slowly rose to his feet. Wolfgang, are you okay?
I'm not sure if Wolfgang really sounds okay.
It's you.
Huh?
I can't believe it.
What?
I really am finally meeting you.
What do you mean?
Why are you saying something like that? Why finally meeting you?
Please, forgive me. Please forgive me for what I've become.
Why he look like that?
Wolfgang?
Despite how hard I tried, how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you.
Huh?
I will always be a failure.
Why is she saying like that?
It's okay, Wolfgang. Look! There's stairs over here. Come over here and we can get out. I have no idea if he didn't hear me, or if he was just ignoring me. But, okay. I'll get closer to you then. I went over to the ledge of the platform, the part where the fence had a gap.
Okay.
Just take my hand, okay? And I'll pull you out.
Did he did it?
He slowly stumbled over, and he held my hand. I didn't really think I could pull him out. I just wanted to be there for him. It was the best I could do, because I didn't want to enter the water. Staying on the platform felt so much safer, and I really, really hate that it did.
Like, what? You think there might be something shock you? Or might be hurt you? But why he's crying?
It's okay,
Why Wolfgang look like that?
We'll get through this together, all right? I was looking at him when I said that. I was looking right at him. But somehow...
Oh. Wolfgang, are you okay?
Somehow I didn't think to react.
Oh, God! Oh, he has a knife!
When he reached inside his blazer.
So he was the one who used the knife then. But why Wolfgang do that? Oh, she... Okay, so there's where the injuries come from. He just cut it on her arm. What the heck is gone with Wolfgang? Is it just because of what Damon's motive picture was saying? Something like father, like son? Does it mean he gone really insane?
Bring her back.
Who?
Bring her
Who are you talking about?
I tried to leave the room, but the door was locked.
Someone locked the door from the inside? Or did someone do the outside?
I didn't know what to do. I started looking around for things to defend myself with. And that's when I saw the gun.
You saw the gun?
The taser gun?
What'd you do with it?
Did you use it?
I took the taser, and I aimed it at Wolfgang.
Didn't it hurt him?
And I couldn't do it.
Oh, you didn't use it.
I couldn't shoot him. I just backed away from him.
But why Wolfgang say something like, bring her back? It's almost like he doesn't remember anything.
I couldn't understand anything. Why was this happening to me? Why was I being attacked? Why can't I do anything to...
I'm not like you. I'll never be like you.
Huh?
I won't give up until the world knows. I won't give up until everyone knows me as...
Ow! Oh, an explosion occurs. That'll also mean there's a blackout.
All of a sudden, everything turned white.
Okay. That'll explain what the kaboom sound like same thing happened when the blackout occurs.
Everything in front of me. Except Wolfgang.
Does it mean he got electrified himself on the water?
In those few seconds, he became pitch black. And then, so did everything else.
Oh, dang. That's quite something out of nowhere. So, is she not doing in the blackout?
Even though I didn't see Wolfgang fall over, I heard it.
Like he fall over?
His body cracking against the pavement, and his knife falling into the water. I waited for the gasp of pain, for him to groan or mumble or say something. But there was nothing. There was just me and the silence. That's how it happened.
Oh, dang. But still, how did Wolfgang acting like this? What really did happen to Wolfgang? Why is he acting like this?
What the fuck?
Yeah, I completely lost my mind and they like, what?
That man attacked you?
Oh my goodness, Diana, I'm at a loss for words.
But what caused him to go insane like that?
This is getting too much for me, bros. I think I'm gonna faint.
Then take off the helmet then already.
Holy shit. So Diana really did watch Wolfgang die.
But why was he so violent towards her? It's like he became an entirely different person.
Maybe it's something to do with the motive that Damon got?
The word you're looking for is crazy.
Despite how hard I tried, and how much I want to be true, I could never become you. What will Wolfgang say those words in the particular moment?
How'd you manage to escape the boiler room after all that?
That's curious to know.
By picking the door's lock.
Ah, that explains why.
For reals?
That explains why it was so different.
I wasn't even thinking. I just started feeling my way back to the door in the dark. And then, well, my supply bag. I remembered the spare hairpins I always kept inside. So I felt around the bag and dug one out.
Okay.
To be honest, I have no idea how I managed to unlock the door. The whole thing was repeated trial and error.
You had no idea how?
Just minutes of me telling myself that somehow this next attempt will finally work.
Whoa! Actually unlocking the doors. That's like hitting a bullseye blindfolded.
Now we know why it took so long for her to escape.
But the doorknob is different.
I realized why it happened. Getting trapped inside, I mean. The door's lock was on the outside. So, someone must have set the lock before I came downstairs. So that when I closed the door, I'd be trapped.
Then who was it? Who locked the door from an outside then?
The lock is normally on the inside too. The killer purposely flipped it, then left the door open so you would be the one to close it. As for why the killer locked the door to begin with...
It was to frame Diana, right?
Yeah.
Right. The killer made Diana trap herself inside the boiler room, so they could kill Wolfgang in front of her, and force her to remain by his body. Had their plan worked, Diana would only be able to escape if someone from outside entered the boiler room. By which point, that someone would be stumbling across what looks like a cut-and-dry murder case.
If the tournament folk found Diana, they would have been playing right into the killer's hands.
Was that the plan all along as well?
Speaking of which, Diana, I'm curious to know, did you unlock the door before or after the tournament attendees arrived downstairs?
That's one thing.
It sort of happened at the same time. Like, when I opened the door, there were already people walking down the stairs. Obviously, I couldn't stay inside the boiler room. If anyone saw me close to Wolfgang's body, it would look really bad. The hallway was a bit easier to make out in the dark, so I walked over to a wall bordering one of the storage closets and hid behind it. And stayed as quiet as possible.
Were you inside the storage closet?
I was still bleeding a little from Wolfgang's cut, though, and some of that blood ended up dripping onto the floor around me.
That explains why there's some dry blood on the hallway then.
It's the blood on the underground floor! It's all coming together!
This was shortly before us tournament goers split up. And you made a run for it, yeah?
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. It's the footsteps. She probably took off her shoes, right?
Mm-hmm. Down the hallway, up the stairs, and then as quietly as possible into my room. Since everything was still really dark, I had to patch myself using the Tozu Trinket's projection as my light.
Okay.
I realize this is a lot, and I know it's hard to believe without proof. So, if you guys could just give me a second.
Good. Meet her makeup bag. Then I pull out a wipe and begin scrubbing at her arm. Oh, you should show her her scar or her cuts.
I cleared up the blood pretty fast.
Oh, damn, no wonder it was so really deep.
Luckily for me, the cut wasn't that deep. There's still a chance it may leave a scar, though.
I mean, no wonder you call this the ultimate cosmetologist. Like, you were good with covering up the marks.
Holy crap!
That's awful!
It's okay. I'll cover it back up again.
You put another makeup one thing?
Why did Wolfgang attack you for no reason?
That's one thing. Like, why he acting like it?
I wouldn't say it was for no reason.
You're being kind of insensitive, man.
Huh? I didn't mean it like that. What I'm trying to say is, Wolfgang's actions may look random from an outsider's perspective, but from his perspective, well, judging by his behavior, it seems like he saw something which shook him to his core.
Like he lost his mind or something?
Like, there was something in the room that Diana didn't see?
That's impossible! It was only me and Wolfgang in the boiler room!
I don't believe Jean meant it in a literal sense.
You saying that someone was hidden in the closet?
Wolfgang literally saw something?
He thought he saw something, is my point.
You mean he had been hallucinating?
Oh, he might be lost his mind. He might be having some kind of like schizophrenia or something.
What did Wolfgang hallucinate for him to turn out the way Diana described?
You'd be surprised by the sort of things our minds can invent.
Does that mean Damon's gonna say something like, I think I know why?
I'm lucky to have never experienced anything myself, but I know some who have hallucinated nasty things. Demons and monsters. Or the feeling of being tortured.
Okay, the demons and monsters did not actually exist, but the torture thing, yeah, not much.
If Wolfgang went through something similar, I can see why he lashed out.
Now what the heck is going on at sea?
Of course, these hallucinations don't just happen out of the blue. More often than not, they're substance-induced.
Substance-induced?
What does that mean?
Just say Wolfgang took a hallucinogenic.
What is that supposed to mean still? I have no idea.
Hallucinogenics?
Oh, shut up already.
One which induced a lot of fatigue, too, judging by the way he lumbered about in Diana's account.
It would explain why Wolfgang mostly stayed in one place.
One place, which happened to be in the water.
Seems very deliberate, aye.
I don't think it's not intentional or something.
I reckon the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious in order to drag him into the water, but knew he would eventually wake up again. So they drugged him with something which would basically make him despondent. As for where the drug came from...
The pharmacy?
Oh no! Don't tell me the killer robbed...
I knew exploring it was a bad idea.
So, this is the pharmacy? This might be the one that took it?
It? What's this it we're talking about?
The pharmacy, obviously.
Yeah, pharmacy has all sorts of drugs and everything.
Why the heck did we think leaving that place open was a good idea? Now someone's stolen an item and drugged Wolfgang. Fuck! I knew our promise was too good to be true! I can't trust any of you guys!
I mean, of course, you don't even care anyone else.
And don't say Wolfgang drugged himself! Who wants to be tortured by demons?
Well, stranger people do exist.
That's rich coming from you!
Okay, enough with the dark humor already. It just as predicted. Exploring the pharmacy ended up paving the way for murder. Is this one of those things that Toadson mentioned about life or death thing? Should I have made more of an attempt to stop people from exploring? Back then, all I did was... With cautious yet determined expression, the students entered the newly opened pharmacy. Giving everyone unrestricted access to medication sounded like a disaster they're making. But having already evoked the group's eerie after speaking my mind before, I was about to make the same mistake twice. I'll just stay quiet. Let them do their thing. Then again, nobody would have listened to me. Especially not with Wolfgang in control.
If we know where the perpetrator got their chemicals, I guess our next step is figuring out how they did the drugging.
Well, that's one thing for sure. Like, how they able to make the drug and exactly? There's just so many like step-by-steps of how they make it.
Agreed. It would help us better understand the timeline of events, and potentially even validate Diana's testimony.
Sounds like you guys can leave this one to me.
Dude, do you have any ideas then, Jet?
I'm the kind of person who knows someone back to front the moment I meet them. If you haven't already realized, I've gone and read this killer like an open book.
Sure.
You're the last person I trust to reach a correct conclusion.
Just you wait! The second you hear what I gotta say, you'll be eating those words!
Sure, whatever you say, buddy. Pinning down how Wolfgang was drugged may validate Diana's testimony. We think for sure, but we hadn't checked the pharmacy ourselves. Question is, how did the killer drug him? Which one can pick out then?
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Then it's not pills.
Just jab him at that point.
How would the killer
Maybe somebody did the neck
make
thing.
him swallow a pill?
They said to have it
There
like
was
the
no
red
proof they
pin
restrained him.
Didn't the killer knock Wolfie out? Maybe that was their way of restraining him.
You can't force an unconscious person to swallow a pill.
What if it was a drug you don't need to eat?
Yeah, exactly.
Like an inhalable substance?
Oh,
No.
yeah, like a powder or something.
No.
The pharmacy does have a large collection of over-the-counter sedatives, but there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
How did the killer drug Wolfgang? Out of all ideas being thrown around, only one has any merit.
I bet the killer took a pill.
There's like so many things I know for sure. Wait, they said odd smell. It says the air in the boiler room smelled like an odd combustion of material and alcohol. John believes the smell is a result of the chemical reaction. Oh, is it? Might be what John's saying, but there's something about chemical reaction then? Maybe?
An inhalable substance?
This one?
Oh, yeah, like a.
If Wolfgang inhaled something, there should have been traces of it in his nose or throat.
No. Well, I would have found something when expecting this body.
I bet the killer took a pill.
Maybe the neck then?
Pill.
They said jab him?
And forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Okay, this.
Just jab him at them.
Any marks? There it goes.
Got it.
You didn't mention about the swollen point. I was like, which one is it? Is it the mark one or is it one of the substance ones? I have no idea. So it was
When
a jab one.
Wolfgang's wounds were discussed earlier, it was mentioned he had a tiny red dot below the bruise on his neck.
Yeah, they mentioned about that.
During the investigation, I thought this dot was a scab from a mole or pimple. But knowing Wolfgang was drugged, it's clear to see what it really is. A puncture wound.
Considering the timeline of events, an injection would check out. If Wolfgang got drugged a little after 8:15 a.m. and was already feeling the effects when Diana arrived at 8:45 a.m.,
Then that will be 30 minutes when Diana arrives.
then we're dealing with something which entered his bloodstream in under 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Any normal pill would have taken, probably an hour to dissolve.
Whilst an injection would be much quicker. I see.
It's simple. It's needles. You could use that for like injection.
That's probably another reason why the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious. It would have been incredibly difficult to inject him if he was still moving around.
Oh, so maybe in my theory, if Wolfgang just come inside the boiler room, and killer should somehow knock down with the rolling pin to go unconscious and then drug it. And that explains for most of those things. And that might be gone insane then?
Only when they had him right where they wanted, dazed and unable to fight back, did they plunge the syringe into his neck.
With said syringe being filled with a hallucinogenic.
But if this all happened a few minutes after 8:15 a.m., doesn't that make it impossible to pin a suspect?
Yeah, that's one thing for sure.
What? Why is it impossible?
Everyone else have an alibi, right?
Because Everybody's got an alibi for that time. I mean, Damon and I were in my dorm room, and the other party people...
8:15 a.m. Yeah, I was already in the dining hall with Jet, Mark, and Eva.
I left Wolfgang's dorm right after the morning announcement and spent the rest of the hour with Jean.
When Nona and I were in our dorm room together.
And me and Eloise were already sitting down in the courtyard.
Toshiko was giving me the medication she grabbed from the pharmacy.
Which, they're already innocent.
And, I stayed in my dorm room until 8:40 a.m.
Oh no. If everyone can be accounted for, we really can't discern a suspect.
Yep, that could be a problem.
So, we're back to square one?
Someone here must be lying.
It's not Diana, I swear.
And doesn't plan to stop.
What's going on over here? Is there a part of this mystery we're getting wrong? Or could it be we're overlooking something? It was ruled out as having no relation to the murder because the wires don't touch the water. But the position of it, the fact it destroyed, the timing of the blackout. When coincidence easy to wave off, but when it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, oh god, don't get doing your head again. Then there's something more going on. There's something more to the generator.
If everyone has an alibi for 8:15 a.m., is it possible the killer never actually attacked Wolfie at that time? But his little note said to come by at 8:15 a.m., didn't it?
Ingrid, do you remember what you said when we couldn't figure out who stole Desmond's taser?
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm drawing a blank.
You suggested we switch subjects and discuss Wolfgang's injuries instead, which we did. As a result, we ended up unraveling more about the case than if we had stuck to the original topic.
About the taser?
Right now, we're at a dead end. If we can't get any more leads out of this current discussion, then that's a sign to switch our focus.
Switch our focus to what?
I want to take another look at Diana's testimony.
So you still want to know more?
Mine?
Back when you were describing Wolfgang's death, something stuck out to me.
I won't give up until everyone knows me as... The explosion. All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me, except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, it became pitch black. Then, so did everything else.
The flash of white Diana described must have been the generator exploding, with the darkness afterwards being the blackout. Think about the order of events there. In just a few seconds, the boiler room's generator explodes, and Wolfgang falls over dead.
Does that mean he died of an explosion?
Doesn't it sound like the two are correlated?
Oi, didn't we go over this already?
We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires weren't touching the water.
Well, that's one thing. The extension cord was touching it during the investigation.
Indeed. Which is why the murder weapon is the taser gun.
Diana said she never used the taser, though.
Then she's lying!
Really?
What? That's not true! I never fired the gun!
But didn't she say something about the blast door missing?
It's all good. I believe you.
See?
Sure, nobody can dispute the gun was fired. What can be disputed, though, is when it got fired. I wouldn't be surprised if the killer fired that gun way in advance. Like, sometime before Wolfgang arrived downstairs and left it in the boiler room for us to find later.
What? So the taser gun isn't the murder weapon?
If Wolfgang wasn't killed with the taser gun or the generator, what other options are we left with?
The taser gun is the only option which makes sense. The murder weapon can't be anything else.
The true murder weapon. It's possible there's a third source of electricity we haven't considered yet. My grasp is strong by thinking something like that.
And anyway, the only proof Diana never shot the taser is her own word.
Huh?
Ava! What do you mean?
All the evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial. The note you showed us? That could be a fake alibi you made for yourself.
Eva, why'd you say something like that?
The fact that it has the same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious.
Couldn't that just mean the same person tricked them?
If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie.
Really?
I get what you're saying. But if we run with the idea that Diana was the one waiting for Wolfgang all the way back at 8:15 a.m., then we're stuck with the issue we had last time. Why did Diana wait over an hour to kill him?
That's also circumstantial. None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid.
Really? You saying stupid?
Without context? Sure, I'd say the same. But since the boiler room is unlocked, anyone can enter. If Diana knocked Wolfgang out, then she took over an hour to kill him with that info in mind.
Okay, but who would enter? No one wants to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be.
Yeah, straight to Renee said, like, everyone have alibis around the time, so I feel like we're stuck. The most covert place? Her words do make sense. After all, I chose to make Mitozu in the boiler room for that very same reason.
Diana claims she didn't write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things?
The answer lies in what destroyed the generator.
Yeah, that's one thing. What caused it?
What?
Didn't we already talk about that?
All you guys did was discuss theories, never anything concrete. Settling for a theory isn't good enough when our lives are on the line. In the same way Ava can't rule out Diana's involvement in the case, we can't rule out the generators.
So, we have to figure out what destroyed the generator?
Like how that blew up?
What should we do? Just throw out ideas?
It's what we've been doing this whole time.
Oakley dokley. Alright, everyone! Let's put our thinking hats on! If we work together, we'll unravel this mystery for sure!
Man, look, Cassidy with his crazy motivation or doing this crazy nut job.
Ready? On your marks, get set, go!
Really? Fine, whatever. We need to go this do not stand debate all the times. What about Sharp now? It was
Why
found
did
in
the
water.
generator blow up?
Could have just been an electrical fault.
So, a coincidence?
That's one
Is
thing.
this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence?
Did the killer throw something at the generator?
It might
Made it explode?
That might be it, right?
Perhaps it's the fault of the taser gun?
No.
The electrical discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof anything besides the taser.
Yes!
No, that's wrong!
I want to know what that chunk of metal was found in the water. There's one thing we hadn't talked about that.
Unfortunately, Ava, I have to disagree. You say nothing but the taser could have been involved in the murder. But there's one possibility you didn't consider.
Yeah.
The shrapnel in the water.
Do you mean those bits of red metal which were floating around?
Yeah, that's one curious to know, like, what the heck is that chunk of thing?
Right. The ones that look like the aftermath of an explosion. Due to their proximity to the generator, it's safe to assume the two are connected.
Can't that just be debris left by the generator?
If there was, there would be some pieces around here.
Except this debris is a completely different color. It lacks the rust the generator has accumulated. We're obviously looking at the remnants of something else. Which means an object we haven't yet identified was caught in the explosion.
Floating near it was another out-of-place item. Is it the extension cord then?
This is it.
Yeah, exactly. It was next to the generator.
In the water was also an extension cord, half of which had been burnt away.
Huh? Did the cord get caught in the explosion?
Seems that cord has the misfortune of floating around the wrong place at the wrong time.
Exactly.
From what I saw in my investigation, the building's extension cord supply seems to be kept inside storage closet D. So in a way, yeah, it was definitely in the wrong place.
Yeah?
Storage closet D, huh?
Isn't that where Jean-Marc is?
It was hard to make out much of it in the dark. And after the power came on, Kai came screaming for us to leave our closets. But I do recall seeing some extension cords peeking out from behind a shelf.
Yeah, you were there in that closet.
Since we already know the killer raided one storage closet, anyone else willing to bet they raided this one too?
The hell did they need an extension cord for?
For making explosion?
Probably something involving the generator, given its proximity to the cord.
Same thing with the red bits. Even though we don't know what they are.
Right. The web shop, no. Yeah, why am I not sure what that is? It definitely isn't debris left by the generator. So, what exactly is it? That's one thing for sure. It's not like a bomb or something. So far, nothing in the boiler room can be directly tied to this shrapnel. At least, not any of the clues that have already been discussed in this trial. If I were to flip my thinking and consider the clues we haven't discussed yet, there's no proof of what I have in mind is related to the shrapnel, but when all other options are ruled out, I can only turn towards the one that hadn't. The one thing the mysterious shrapnel might be related to. Which is related to? It's like bomb went up inside the generator. Is it the generator itself? No. Is it the odd smell?
This is it.
Oh! That?
Hold that thought. We may be able to identify the shrapnel using context clues.
This is a thing about like syrup and alcohol. But what does it relate to that?
During the investigation, there was a strange smell permeating the boiler room. It took me a moment to notice, but when I did, well, the best way to describe the scent would be if you mix cereal and alcohol together.
Cereal and alcohol? Talk about specific.
That's John's word to ya!
Mm-hmm. 'Tis a sign a chemical reaction was at play.
Wait, you recognize the smell?
Chemical reactions can produce some pretty pungent odors. Usually something to the tune of alcohol mixed with cereal, or fruits, or eggs. I noticed the smell going into the investigation, but it had completely slipped my mind until now.
Yeah, but the strength, like, what does a smell is gonna do anything?
Could it be a chemical reaction was caused by the taser?
The gun never touched the water. There's no reason for it to be the source of the smell.
What about the generator?
Considering the state of it, that generator would smell more burnt than anything else.
If the chemical reaction can't be explained by what we already know, like the generator or the taser gun, we need to consider the possibility that the explanation is the one piece of evidence still evading us, the shrapnel.
Can someone translate this into less complicated talk?
Yeah, I have still no idea.
It was just a long-winded way of saying he's using process of elimination.
I know it sounds like a stretch, but if you follow this line of reasoning, a lot more questions start getting answered. Think about it. If the smell and shrapnel are linked, then whatever object the shrapnel belongs to must contain chemicals.
So we're looking for a metal object, which is also packed with chemicals?
Surely something like that would be kept inside the pharmacy.
Looking at my notes...
I mean, isn't it something you can see of?
When we originally visited the pharmacy, I recorded everything I saw.
Yeah, you did record something in the pharmacy.
A bright red metal object would have definitely caught my eye, but I don't see one written here.
I got lots of metallic objects in my dorm room, but nothing chemical. Just big old slabs of metal.
This sentiment might be related to chemical things. Big old slabs of metal. Why does that sound so familiar? Hold on. That's right! What Ingrid said just now is similar to what she said the night everyone began bunking together. Heck, yet this would explain my room, too. It littered with all sorts of fancy tools and metals. What that's supposed to mean? At the time, people were talking about their dorm rooms being themed around the Terra Talents. Could it be? Could the shot not actually be the remnants of the unique device that guy boasted about having in this room? The only way for sure is put you on the spot. Huh? Already? Who bragged about having a unique device in this room? It's a hiss. It's not Wolfgang, is it? Expecting Wolfgang's dorm would reveal a lot. None of what I see is relevant to this discussion. Not it. Who was it? Is it Jet? Jet had all sorts of chemical things. There's no way it can't be him, is it? No!
It has to be you!
It can't be!
Jet, I need to ask you something.
It makes it sound stupid, is it? But it can't be, is it?
What's up?
Can you tell me what's inside your dorm room?
Like, a full-on list?
I have a bad feeling about this. If Jet would be the killer, that'll be bad.
Whatever works.
Sure thing. I got a pretty gnarly collection of parts and accessories. Blind spot mirrors, lithium batteries, wheels, spare brakes, you name it.
Did you say lithium batteries?
Oh, I even have the legendary mantle from the 1984's Grand Prix winning speedster.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
What?
Cool. So, why'd you want to know? Unless... Wait, I'm not being suspected, am I?
I really wish you wouldn't.
No. Don't try to rope me into this, bro. I've got nothing to do with the murder.
I know you don't. You have an alibi. The only reason I ask is because that mysterious red shrapnel may be the remnants of one of your lithium batteries.
Oh, the lithium batteries? Who took it?
What?
I see. A lithium battery might explain the smell in the air.
And lithium? That's an explosive substance.
Dang, never spotted what Jet had and all this weird kind of things, even as a drag racers.
If it made contact with water, gosh, you'd be left with a mess and a half.
Wouldn't someone have heard an explosion, though?
I did.
Everybody else who was in the game tournament.
Really?
During the tournament, right before we lost power.
Oi, that's right. That was a berm.
Wait! I remember hearing it too!
Yeah, everybody else who wasn't in the tournament would heard the loud boom noise.
I initially assumed the generator made the noise somehow. But if Jet's car batteries contain an explosive substance...
Hey, Jet, were your batteries bright red at all?
Maybe?
Is it? I don't like the sound of it.
You don't know for sure?
I never took the batteries out of their packaging. The packaging isn't red, I can tell you that, but the actual batteries? Yeah, I got nothing.
So it can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Oh man.
Pretty much.
Well, what's the reaction time of a lithium battery?
The reaction time?
When a lithium battery hits the water, how long does it take to combust?
Is it an hour long?
I think, once we know that, we can decide whether or not the battery is relevant to the case.
A lithium battery would be an almost instantaneous reaction, I'm pretty sure.
Lithium isn't a metal I've worked with, but it got beat into my head never to mix it with substances it doesn't like. All that electricity, the battery would have let out when it hit the water. It must have went straight into poor Wolfie.
There's warning labels on the battery for a reason.
Is there?
Okay. If the reaction is instantaneous, then the battery would have entered the water only seconds before the generator exploded.
Does it explode from the lithium battery that if it touched water exploded? Not to generate a sieve?
That's really weird.
Is it?
According to Diana's testimony, when the explosion happened, she was still holding the taser gun.
Yeah.
In which case, who threw the battery into the water?
Huh?
Huh. Good point.
Ina seriously thinking it might be someone who threw it from the vent, is it? Because it was connected from the boiler room and the dining room. Which I cannot really believe. I'm not sure that would be crazy enough to believe in.
We can rule out Wolfgang, since the Blackens can only be a student who kills another student. And Diana.
It was only Diana and Wolfgang in the boiler room. So unless Diana herself was the one to throw the battery, then the battery can't play a part in the murder.
She didn't even carry the battery.
I didn't throw the battery. I promise.
Sharpnel and generator are too close to a comfort. They must be incorporated. I'll admit that Diana throwing the battery is a possibility. But that's all it is. A possibility. There may still be another way for the battery to enter the water. And until I rule that out, I won't settle for the culprit just yet. Okay, we're gonna do the pathos scene again. Then piece of metal.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Is it thin?
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere, so it must have been submerged another way. Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
If that battery is the murder weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Is it this one? No.
The evidence tells a different story, mate.
Wait a minute.
The battery is related to the case.
What is the thin one exactly? What this says? A small thin piece of metal discovered near the boiler room door. You heard about that, isn't it?
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere,
This one? Dang it!
so it must have been submerged another way.
Why didn't I move
Perhaps
something?
something akin to
A few inches from the generator.
Not the hardest shot to make.
Everybody's quick to say the battery was thrown. When that considered a boiler room, in which object the killer could have leveraged. What that person considered impossible start to sound indie, but... Dang it!
Damon, Diana was the only.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
I mean, we had to mention about
the
the thin
battery
piece of it.
clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere.
Dang it!
Now is not the time.
It's not it. I was like,
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana.
That's it. This one?
But my
Damon.
Come on!
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have.
This one?
Damon.
Oh, come on. I'm having a hard time trying to remember this, okay?
So it must.
Diana could have thrown it in the water.
This one?
But
Damon. If the battery is related to the
what's
case,
that person?
only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But
Damon. If the battery is related to the case,
fallen from somewhere.
This one? I have no idea which one is it.
From somewhere.
Oh,
no, that's wrong.
For sake! Could have fallen somewhere. I do not know which is it. Other generator might pull this off exactly.
No. The battery might actually have fallen from the generator.
What makes you say that?
I have fucking no idea. I was thinking to myself, is this the right answer? This is one damn blind.
The shrapnel's position in front of the generator suggests there's a correlation between the two. However, it's unlikely Diana threw the battery at the generator.
Really?
Not only is the boiler room difficult to see in, the generator is positioned far enough from the concrete platform that Diana, with her wounded arm, would need to stand on the platform's edge to make the shot. Which would obviously put her in danger of being attacked by Wolfgang again.
Yeah. Wolfgang was really close. He could reach over to me if he wanted.
If the battery hadn't been thrown, the only other possibility is that it fell down into the water. And considering the layout of the boiler room, what else could the battery fall off of? Except the generator.
Are you saying the battery was sitting on top of the generator?
How does that work? Not on top, but maybe. What position was in the battery? Suspend over the generator, leaning over the generator, teetering over the generator. Was it leaning?
Imagine leaning a tablet against a shelf divider. If you remove the divider, the tablet would fall over. Wouldn't it? The killer might have used a similar method to push the battery off the generator.
Is the tablet in your example a stand-in for the battery?
Well, yeah.
I see. And what object is the divider supposed to be?
Nah, I can't answer. Is it teetering over the generator?
Imagine a domino tile teetering over the edge of a table.
Really domino tile?
If you were to press down on the part which is sticking out, the entire tile would tip over and fall onto the floor, right? What if the killer applied the same physics to the battery? They could position the battery so it was teetering over the generator, and then, from the safety of the concrete platform, use a long instrument to tip it over.
I don't think that's how that works.
That long instrument being?
I have no idea. So it's suspended? How does that work? Is it like lift in the air?
The battery may have been suspended over the generator.
Suspended over?
The battery was suspended by something. The principle of that item starts to make a lot more sense. Is it the thin piece of things that mentioned about this? Because I have no idea how that works exactly. Is it this one, right? No, I can't see how that item was any connection. Which is it? Is it a rolling pin? Dang it, it's not. Generator itself? Dang it. Game over again. We changed it over this, it's just still keep doing this all the time. I'm not sure what happened with the result then. Oh, is that a extension cord then? It might be suspended.
This is it.
Oh my god. That explains why.
The killer could have tied the extension cord around the battery and slung the battery over the generator.
How does that work? I don't know how the extension cord using that as a rope.
If the cord and battery were tied together at the time of the generator's explosion, it would explain why half of the cord had been burned away.
The more you explain it, the more unbelievable it sounds.
Believe me, it does sound insane.
What if that's the point? Maybe the killer chose a crazy method because no one would believe it.
I don't see how weaving a cord into the mix is any more beneficial than leaving it out. If anything, the cord adds extra weight.
Which would be especially inconvenient for Diana, because her arm is bleeding.
Exactly.
Right. It wouldn't benefit Diana to hold the cord. So, what if she didn't? Something else may have been supporting the cord instead.
The thin piece, something like... What was holding the cord? What gets holding the cord? A third person was holding the cord. God wasn't involved. The object was holding the cord. You know, this is the third person?
Yeah, like Diana.
It wasn't me!
Dang
I
it.
promise!
I don't want to suspicion on it. Is it object was holding the cord?
I got it.
Oh dang, I didn't know about that.
Throughout this trial, we've assumed the killer held the battery in some form or another. If the battery was on its own, the killer tossed it in. If the battery was wrapped with a cord, the killer held the other end of the cord. But in the same way something else can hold the battery, can't something else also hold the cord?
Does that mean it's all been planned out?
Ugh. My head's starting to spin.
Yeah, and it's starting to get my head spin as well, Ingrid.
Are you talking about something which could keep the cord in place?
Something to keep the cord in place. Imagine the cord and the battery is tied around in front of the generator in the same spot where the sharp node was surfaced. Is it the vent grate?
This is it.
Oh dang!
The killer tied the cord to the vent.
Oh my gosh! How did that even work?
What vent?
It was the top of the generator.
The one above the generator. It connects the boiler room and the dining hall.
There's a vent above the generator?
You should remember some light shining into the boiler room. That's where the vent is. The vent itself is set a bit far back into the wall. So, you probably assumed the spot was a small window or something.
Yeah.
If the boiler room and the dining hall are separated by one vent, does this make the wallpaper thin, or...?
There's two vents. The boiler room vent and the dining hall vent. Both are connected via a small ventilation shaft.
I have a strange feeling, like, did one person set the whole thing up before Wolfgang arrives? If that were the case, there would have been some kind of like a set of plan. Like, who would be so crazy enough to make something so deceitful?
I was able to get a close look at the boiler room vent after Ava and I woke up, which is why I know these details.
How close is close for someone under 6 foot?
Don't mention it.
Ava helped me reach the vent.
By?
Letting me sit on her shoulders.
Don't ask why.
Quite the visual.
Don't rub it in.
Anyway, if the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end around the battery, they could suspend the battery over the generator.
Something like that would result in an explosion.
What do you mean?
You say the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end to the battery. However, indoor extension cords are much longer than regular cords. They can be upwards of 9 or more meters in length, as opposed to the average cord's 2 meters. 9 meters is significantly longer than the distance between the vent and the boiler room floor.
Are you saying that how deep and how long the cord is?
If the killer wanted to tie the battery to the cord's other end, they would be tying it to something which is already submerged in water.
I see. It is an impossible setup.
Not necessarily. Killer can have greatly reduced the length of cord, but doing that... How did the killer reduce the length of the cord? Like cutting it?
Cut the cord using what exactly?
Scissors? That's what anyone would use, right?
And where exactly did these scissors come from?
Could have been the storage closets. They're packed with tons of stuff, so...
Is it going back down again?
Well, I've been through those closets twice now, and I never saw scissors.
Not even pliers?
I didn't see pliers either.
Could the cord have been cut with Wolfie's knife?
No, they not.
You believe the victim set up the murder trap?
So this whole thing was a suicide mission?
No. That's definitely not the case. Look, it's not. Did we wrap around the battery?
I got it.
That could be the only thing you could do for lower the wire.
The extension cord is pretty thin and flimsy.
Something like that. And hopefully not someone else's.
If the killer wanted the battery to be secure, they need to wrap a lot of cord around it. Probably to the point there wouldn't be much spare cord remaining. Which is a good thing, because this spare cord is what the battery will be suspended by.
And how do they get it from the inside exactly? But like, to tie it up from the end of the cord.
So long as the spare cord isn't too long, the battery will sit safely above the water.
So much effort.
Yeah, no kidding.
Agreed. How do you even submerge the battery into the water under those circumstances?
How? Simple. But just in the core's position. All the killer would need to utilize is an aspect of the boiler room. Spot selection. Would the killer use to adjust the core's position? Is it the box?
I don't think that answers the question.
I look like an idiot. I ain't not sure. The generator itself? The cord is tied to the generator. What else is there? The vent?
This is it.
I was just saying, it's on the vent!
Like I mentioned earlier, I gave the vent a close look after originally waking up in the
I'm just
boiler
saying,
room.
you can tie it with a vent, is it not?
Part of my inspection included opening the vent to get a better look at the other side.
The vent can be opened?
Not all the way, but far enough for the vent to cause a domino effect if then closed. In our case, a domino effect involving the extension cord tied to it. If we assume the vent must be open for the battery to remain a safe distance above the water, we end up with a pulley system.
Really? Like, doing like bending up the vent like that? This is already hard for all these details about how this set up the primary ending.
To prevent the battery from entering the water, the vent is literally pulling the entire cord backwards. Ergo, it's not just the killer's own measurements keeping the battery in place, but the vent itself.
Damn.
Having opened one of these vents before, I can tell you how tough they are to move.
Wrapping my finger around the grate directly in front of me, I pulled as hard as I could.
A lightweight battery definitely isn't heavy enough to pull one shut. It takes an actual person to close one. Which is great for the killer, because it means they get to maintain full control over when the battery enters the water. If they close the vent, the cord should slide forward and submerge the battery into the water.
It's about the timing, like if it goes back up for a close, and that land on the water.
When that happens, the boiler room water becomes electrified by the battery's components, which in turn causes electricity to pass directly into the body of Wolfgang, who is standing in the water.
Damn.
Exactly which vent is the cord being tied to?
The boiler room vent.
Funny. Earlier, you said there's a small vent shaft connecting the boiler room vent to the dining hall vent. Assuming the killer is operating this trap from outside the boiler room, since we know there were only ever 2 people in that room, how would they even be able to reach the boiler room vent?
Yeah, that's one thing, it's so high.
Like you said, there's a separate vent in front of it.
Huh. She has a point. I've been assuming the cord is tied to the boiler room vent. But I found I considered a ventilation shaft. Yeah, that's one thing. It became considerably harder to reach the boiler room vent if you have reached the shaft first. Not just that, I never tested to see if the boiler room vent can open on inwards. I only got it opened upwards. By that logic, a vent on the opposite side of the shaft.
This could only mean one thing.
It's not seriously thinking it might be one of us.
The killer never tied the cord to the boiler room vent. They tied the cord to the dining hall vent.
Oh no. This is one thing I don't want to know what to believe it.
That just creates the same problem as before, but reversed. Instead of the dining hall vent making it hard to close the boiler room vent, it's the boiler room vent making it hard to reach the dining hall vent.
While the vents may seem like an obstruction, especially since they can't be opened all the way, there's a very easy workaround.
That's it.
All the killer needs to do is fit the extension cord between the grates of the boiler room vent.
Oh yeah, the grates. You mentioned something about them earlier.
Yeah.
Right. When you described opening the boiler room vent.
Wrapping my finger around the grates directly in front of me, I pulled as hard as I could.
If you can fit your fingers between the grates, there's no damn way you can't fit a cord.
Exactly. After which, you can slide the cord through the ventilation shaft and out the opposite end for the killer to then go and tie to the...
Actually...
Okay, we got Uzi's, rebuttal. What are you trying to say?
Hello?
What is it now?
There's something I still don't understand about your theory.
And that is?
It's to do with the logistics of the cord.
The logistics?
Its size.
What, you see it's not long? We're about to discuss this again? Never mind. I'll find a way to combat this argument. Just like what I've done countless times already. Oh god. This is the second time in a row, isn't it? Knife, sharp null, extension cord, generator, blackout.
I understand the boiler room vent can be opened. Maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder.
Duel? Okay.
I don't see a problem here. The killer doesn't even need to open that vent, because they could simply slide the cord between the grates.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't. How can the killer fit both those plugs between the gaps in the vent grate? Either the boiler room vent was never involved, or it was open at some point, and someone else closed it. That is my issue.
His argument might make sense if it went for one fatal flaw.
Indoor extension cords may be thin,
the extension cord
but the plug side of them aren't.
I'll cut through those words!
Yeah, there was a plug on the end, though. Is it might be the case?
If you insert the cord through the boiler room vent first, it's possible to fit the cord through. You just need to start with the internal plug. The cords in Storage Closet D have a slim internal end. This can easily be slid through the gaps in the vent.
Yeah, that'll come easier. Right?
Once the killer ties the cord around the dining hall vent, presumably with a knot, the cord won't be at risk of sliding back out either.
I see. When put like that, whether or not the boiler room vent was closed isn't really relevant.
How'd you figure all this out from some shrapnel and an extension cord? This is crazy.
Yeah, me too. That's something like, you draw something out of it. Like, add more something like, deeper meat into this, how this plays out from the murder.
At the same time, what he's describing sounds plausible.
Since the battery was suspended over the generator, it's no surprise the machine ended up the way it did. Fortunately for Diana, she was safe by virtue of remaining on the platform. I imagine that was also the killer's intention.
The killer kept her on the platform?
Really?
They must have known they were injecting Wolfgang with a hallucinogenic. So, it's possible they hoped his behavior would scare Diana off from entering the water. Although, even if Diana did die, the moment people realized only she and Wolfgang entered the boiler room, they probably call the whole thing a murder gone wrong.
Well, all of this certainly changes things.
Huh?
If the killer is someone who needed access to the vent, and needed to be operating from the dining hall.
In other words, it might be suspect to be one of us, but I had a feeling there might be one person who might be. Until I had to wait for something like, I probably know who did.
Then everyone who attended the tournament is a suspect.
Yeah.
What?
No way!
One of the tournament attendees is a killer? Damn it, how did I not realize sooner? I mean, you would have. The fact that the killer couldn't access the event means they must have been in the dining hall at the time of Wolfgang's murder.
So we can reduce it down to 8 people. Damon, Kai, Grace, Eva, Cassidy, Jed, Mark, and John.
It was probably Cassidy. She set the whole thing up.
But she would never do something like that.
Hey, I was only trying to improve the mood.
It wasn't me. I was playing a game with Damon when the lights went out.
Exactly. You cannot go anywhere.
I had to play music.
Me too.
You never touched my equipment.
I meant I was watching Kai and Damon play.
I was spectating as well.
Me too.
Me 3. And Cass 2, I think? I was too focused on the game to remember who was or wasn't there.
Yeah, sure.
If everyone's telling the truth, then all 8 of y'all were crowded round the same spot?
Near the right wall where the TV was set up. It's also the furthest wall from the vent.
Seems like someone is lying again.
Tournament participant who flipped the vent. I could deduce who that person is, but determine everyone's position directly before the blackout. The problem is, I must have been totally preoccupied with the game. I never got to look at the actual people around me. Never got a good look. Wait, is that it? While I never got a good look at the others, I can still deduce their general position if they were near me. But whether or not I heard them. Think, Damon, think. Who and what did I hear back then? Is it explosion? It was you. The only person I never heard was you. Well, I know who did it. And it says, who didn't I hear before blackout? The only person is Mark Bursky. After all, because he was with Jed, right? That I've been bugged by him. The only way to get that battery is just inside his own room. So it had to be him, is it? Mark usually don't speak ever. But I said, oh no, he was definitely mixing music before the blackout occurred. He must have been watching my game with Kai too, because I remember this music becoming more frantic after Kai gained the upper hand. That means he must have been the DJ path, which was on the opposite side of the room to the vent. No, that's not it. Don't tell me, is it Eva? Please tell me it's not Eva. I really hope it's not Eva, I swear to God. If it's not involving Eva, then I'm going to lose my mind. God dang it!
It has to be you!
Why Eva? I'm about to walk out of the door right now if she's not been the killer. God dang it! But why it has to be Ava?
The killer is Ava.
But why her? Did she set the whole thing up?
Huh?
Ava's the only one whose position I can't account for.
I mean, I thought for sure I trusted her all this time, even though she's the ultimate meddler herself, like she having a big deal with.
Mark was mixing a track at the time Kai and I were playing a game, so I know he must have been stationed at his pad. And everyone else? I remember hearing their voices over the sound of the game. Everyone. Except Ava.
Damn.
In fact, the last I saw her, she was standing in the corner of the room with the vent.
Yeah, she did was standing in the corner.
So Ava flipped the vent?
Oh man! And the reason no one heard it is because the music was too loud!
Don't blame Mark for all of this.
Don't blame me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying!
I was just doing what I was told.
No one's blaming you. We're all in on Eva.
Oh, did Ava set the whole thing up as well, like what she said?
Care to contribute anything, Eva?
I didn't flip the vent.
Well, Damon says you did.
Damon says a lot of things.
While you aren't technically wrong, I don't think that counts as an argument.
His theory is full of plot holes. He just refuses to point them out.
What plot holes?
And what point is he talking about?
The cord.
What?
In retrospect, you were so quick to accuse me that you overlooked a huge problem with the cord. If I'm the killer, how did I dispose of it?
Maybe didn't.
Trick question. You left the cord tied to the vent.
What then? It unraveled by itself and fell into the water?
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. If it left in the vent, I'm not sure how this is gonna tie up everything.
Yeah, you got me there.
How did Eva get rid of the cord? I'm sure it's possible if she knew to untie it at the right time. What is it then? When did Eva tie the cord? Was it before the blackout?
You untied the cord before the blackout even happened.
Someone would have noticed me fiddling with the vent.
She might be on something. Did this happen during the blackout?
I got it.
Okay, it was thinking there was something about the blackout, is it?
To dispose of the cord. You just untied it during the blackout.
Of course.
She untied the knot during a blackout?
So that everyone could not see it.
Being the one who set up the trap, Ava could have easily practiced untying the knot in advance. Or she just made it a really simple knot. Either way, it wouldn't be any more difficult than untying your shoelaces with your eyes closed.
If Ava untied the cord, did it also fall into the water?
Diana's testimony says as much.
It does?
During your confrontation with Wolfgang, you recounted hearing certain sounds.
Like what? I'm not like you. I'll never be like you. I won't give up till the world knows. I won't give up until I know this. All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me, except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, it became pitch black. And then, so did everything else. I heard plop noise. That means they're starting to dispose of the extension cord. I didn't even know about that.
The first sound was obviously the battery exploding. And the second, when you first recounted the story, you said it was the sound of the knife hitting the water. But why would a thin knife make such a big splash?
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. It's a bit too thin to make a splash noise.
Then, do you think...
What really caused that sound was probably the extension cord falling into the water.
Did Mappy happen after explosion? Did Mappy flew away to the water?
When you say it that way, it does seem likelier.
I should have known. The kid who lied about her talents and tried to lie about the Tozy trinkets. I should have known.
Damn, an expert from Eva, even she tried to hide herself in anything, but why?
I should have known only Eva fucking Sadaka would kill Wolfgang!
You're right that Eva's lied to us several times already.
But she's just a mathlete. How did someone like her come up with something this complicated?
I mean, it's weird never did have kind of math equation to solve that kind of thing.
Her talent would give her the upper hand in all that measurement nonsense.
Yeah, that kind.
Even so, the sheer volume of items Eva had to steal. She's been under heavy suspicion these past few days. How did she sneak into Jet and Desmond's rooms without being noticed?
Yeah, that's one thing.
It's impossible. Wolfgang even got mad at me for being late to the dining hall by a few minutes. I've been watched the entire time I've been here. There's no way Jet wouldn't have noticed me taking his battery.
Right on! No one steals from me!
Yeah, that's one thing. Even if still, no lock on it.
They already did.
And anyway, how could I enter the cord through the boiler room vent when I can't even reach the top of the generator? If anything, you should be suspicious of the taller students.
Ooh, John? I still want people are doubtful, but I can't let the conversation continue like this. Eva did, in fact, have a way to reach the vent. All she had to use... Is it the box that was on the water?
This is it.
There you have it.
Ava, to reach the top of the generator, you simply stood on one of the boxes in the boiler room. There's already a huge pile of them near the generator itself. You could easily push one up against the machine.
Ah, she would have known about those boxes in advance, too. Since she explored the boiler room with you ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay, I could have used the boxes to reach the top of the generator. And I could have fit the cord through both vents if I inserted the right plug. I can do both of those things without attracting suspicion. What I can't do without attracting suspicion is opening the vent.
Eh?
Which vent are we talking about?
Dining room?
The dining hall one.
Yeah.
Based on what Damon's saying, it needs to be opened for the killer's trap to work. But opening it during the tournament is asking to be caught, And opening it before the tournament is useless because Jet, Cassidy, and Mark would see it while setting up.
True. It'd be possible they would have saw it.
Oh. Oh yeah, you're right. If there was an open vent with a cord tied to it, I would have noticed for sure.
Now that Eva mentions it, I'm pretty sure the vent was closed during setup.
The vent was closed?
See, there's no way I can execute this trap without being caught. It's a stupid trap anyway. All the cord and vent stuff is too complicated. There's a billion ways it could go wrong. Damon's just making stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
What the? That's bullshit.
Can it, you four-eyed troll!
Oh, damn.
You can't talk your way out of this one!
Dang. And get Grace's stuff feeling with Wolfgang and all this. But I thought Damon's gotta say something. There's been Grace coming to action. Yes.
The only person who would be sick-minded enough to kill Wolfgang is you and only you! Don't you fucking try and tell me otherwise!
Jeez. Okay, we're gonna do the thing. Are we gonna do paint those things? Because I feel it might be.
You can't say I'm the murderer just because I sat near a vent.
It seems to be pretty good evidence to me.
Wolfgang exposed you for the snake you are, and you despised him because of it. You have a motive!
What motive?
Perhaps our understanding of the mechanism is wrong? Maybe it wasn't closing the vent that triggered it, but something else?
Do you have any evidence to prove that?
Even if this trap was used, you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described.
How so?
Well, the battery could have been tied to the extension cord, with a special knot which can untie by itself, after a bit of time passes.
There's even less evidence for that!
Evidence? No one here cares about evidence. I just happened to be at the game
tournament.
This one?
No, that's wrong!
Oh, dang. I was thinking what I was thinking. Is it because the game tournament thing? Because she was joining it, right?
No. It's no coincidence you were at the game tournament. In fact, it's not even a coincidence the tournament took place during the murder.
What do you mean?
It was impossible for me to notice this earlier, but the killer timed the tournament so it would grant them an alibi for the murder.
Oh no! Didn't she mention about this, like, how about we set up at 9 a.m.? She even say something about that. Oh gosh! I never expected like she make the time anything. And did she say like, I thought she was like feel interested in playing games. It's just like, no, she was like trying to plan to set the whole thing up. Oh my god, that's I'm about to get out of the door already. I'm about to do it. Come on, I don't want to lose Eva on anything because I thought for sure she was doing something like she feeling bad all of this.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you accusing me of murder again? I thought you said Ava was the culprit.
You're not accusing her of anything. Just get out of your head. Well, get out of your head, what do you want to call it?
The detective isn't supposed to switch suspects in the last stretch like this. You're totally throwing the audience for a loop, and not in a good way.
Except neither of you played a role in determining what time the tournament would be held. The only person to determine that was Ava.
Yeah, she said that. She said it's at 9 a.m. When I was training my talent, I did most of my studying at 9 a.m. The brain is most active and ready to absorb information around that time. Oh god, that got me weird. I anticipate this effect could help our video game skills. At 9 a.m. 20, huh? Wouldn't be the first time. Screw it! Let's do 9 a.m. 1 hour after the morning announcement. Yeah, she'd say something like that.
Ava knew she would be in the dining hall tomorrow. So when Cassidy announced the tournament, she realized it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, I can never thought for sure she planned the whole thing up. Seriously.
To create an alibi for herself.
That's insane. How could she have come up with something like that on the spot?
It wasn't just for an alibi either. Since Ava knew about the tournament, she could time the setup of her trap accordingly.
So to answer her question of why neither Cassie, Jet, nor Mark noticed the open vent, when I think back on what Cassie told me earlier today, before the tournament began, I can discern exactly when Eva opened the vent. Is it before? When did Eva open the dining room area? After breakfast?
Ava opened the vent after breakfast this morning.
You really don't think we would have noticed her messing with our stuff before the tournament?
Right, it'll be too risky to open the vent. What about stacking the furniture? Did she still help everything up?
I got it.
Did she say she would set up the furniture or something?
Cassidy, you told me Ava approached you yesterday and asked to help set up the tournament.
Yes, she did.
What exactly did she say?
When did I tell you this again?
Before the tournament?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, Eva wanted to see what sort of equipment the tournament needed. After I showed her Mark's stuff and told her we were redecorating the dining hall, she offered to help.
Yeah, she did something like that.
Back when this conversation happened, you still hadn't decided what time you were going to start redecorating, right?
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. Eva really helped me out, though. She said she would stack the dining hall furniture we weren't going to use later that night.
Yeah. Maybe she's trying to hide the vent thing.
Afterwards, we could focus purely on arranging the technical stuff in the morning.
All right. Then tell me what happened last night.
Jet, Mark, Eva, and I came to the dining hall at around 8:40 p.m. probably. We stacked the table and the dining chairs against the left wall, and the sofas we moved to the middle of the room, maybe a little more to the right. Then we all went back to our dorms.
You didn't seriously all gone and while Eva's the last person remains.
Well, I was kind of hungry, so I stayed back a few minutes before leaving.
Hold the phone! If those sofa chairs were moved to the middle of the room, why did I see one over in the corner this morning?
'Cause Eva pushed it there.
Ah! Yeah, she did that. She did it to cover the vent thing. She didn't want anyone to fight about this. God dang it! And thanks for the slipper, Cassidy.
Eva what?
She didn't want to take part in the tournament. Just watch it from the side. That's what she told me. I never thought it was weird or anything. Some people just like sticking to the walls of rooms, you know?
No way that happened. You let that happen?
We're talking about the sofa in the upper left corner, aye? The one next to the coffee table.
Yes, sir, Bob.
Yo, when the power went out, I'm pretty sure Damon ran over to that corner to look through... Yeah, a vent!
Did she move the chair there so it would be easier to reach the vent later?
Why would I when Cassidy just said the vent was closed during setup?
Because you were covering for yourself in advance.
Yep.
Huh?
The vent may not have been open at the time, but I'm willing to bet that's because you were still creating your trap.
In what way?
Let's say Ava took a detour for the boiler room first, and slid the internal plug through both vents, after going upstairs and helping rearrange the dining hall furniture, during which she moves a sofa chair so it obscures the vent. She heads outside and hides until everyone else goes to bed. Then, she walks back in and opens the vent.
So Eva took complete advantage of them?
Dang.
Not my fault those two are so trusting.
You think a big guy like me was gonna be afraid of some mathlete? No way!
I mean, how the heck the mathlete is a bad thing for you guys?
I mean, she did lie about a lot of important things. Her talent being one of them.
She also cried and fled the scene after we found out, no?
I just thought it was cool. She wanted to help me out.
Hey, can we backtrack a little? Like, to before all this Ava talk?
What?
Why? What happened?
It's to do with the chair's position.
What chair position? The chair?
You guys keep saying it was in front of the vent, but Damon stood in front of the vent during the blackout. If the chair was in the position you all say it was, it should have blocked him from crouching in front of the vent.
True. Unless Ava have moved it to time it correctly.
Ava probably just moved it during the blackout. Before the blackout, it was positioned with its back to the left wall.
Yeah, I know that for sure, but I'm not sure how the heck they hide students from all of us.
However, when I ran over to the vent, the chair was suddenly pushed up against the northern wall, out of the vent's range. Ava must have shifted the chair while everyone was initially panicking from the blackout.
And how come no one even realized it got moved differently?
I'm guessing she hoped people would misremember its position and think it was always along the northern wall.
Oh man! So I totally fell for it?
Jeez, next one coming from her.
I also remember seeing a speaker in that corner.
Yeah, about that. This morning, Jet, Mark, and I arrived at the dining hall a little after 8 a.m., then Eva came a few minutes later. She helped us put together Mark's equipment, which was stationed in the lower right corner of the room. And then she volunteered to place speakers around the room while Jet and I set up the TV next to the fireplace.
Moving a speaker near the vent. Did Eva do that to drown out Diana and Wolfgang's scuffle?
Oh, so we... I know the fact is you can't blame Mark for all of this, but maybe make sure and, don't hear the noise, what they're saying?
Yeah, and in turn exacerbate the effects of the other speakers.
And don't blame Mark on all this!
There were almost a dozen spread throughout the dining hall. Some even sandwiched into corners they didn't need to be. Ava probably placed them that way to cover as much ground as possible.
Still. Eva entered the dining hall at 8:10 a.m., right? So, wouldn't it be impossible for her to knock out Lawyer Man at 8:15 a.m.?
According to Ava, she arrived around 8:10 a.m. But it's possible she actually arrived much later. Since there's no clock in the dining hall, he just couldn't have known. In fact, that might be why Ava seemed so eager to arrange Mark's equipment in the morning. Upon realizing it had a clock, she wanted to ensure it would only be powered on after she arrived.
It seems the setup of this trap occurred across 3 phases.
Okay.
Phase 1 took place in the boiler room and involved tying a lithium battery to an extension cord. The cord was then slid through the grates of the closed boiler room vent, presumably until it almost poked out the other end of the ventilation shaft. Phase 2, by contrast, was carried out in the dining hall. The aforementioned cord was tied around the dining hall vent, which was then left open. This must have happened after Cassidy, Mark, and Jet were already done redecorating. For the third and final phase, the battery was carefully suspended over the generator. All these steps combined created a pulley system, which could only be triggered by closing the dining hall vent. Is there anything I'm missing?
How I closed the vent.
Huh?
No one has explained how I closed the dining hall vent.
No one?
Obviously, I didn't do it during the blackout. According to Damon, the blackout can only happen after the vent is closed. So, I must have stood up, gone behind the chair, and closed the vent during the tournament. That's stupid. Someone is definitely going to notice that sort of conspicuous movement.
I don't like to hear it coming from you.
It doesn't matter if that someone is on the opposite side of the room. They're going to notice.
How did we overlook such an obvious discrepancy?
Eva was right. Standing up would look really suspicious. Which is exactly why she used that to circumvent the problem. Which position? What allowed Eva to close the vent without attracting suspicious? Is it the couch itself?
This is it.
What's got to do with anything?
The location of your chair bypasses this problem entirely. To close the vent, all you need to do is set the chair to recline and reach behind you.
No! Oh, is that a recliner chair? I didn't even realize there was a recliner chair. If you do it like this, it go do like that, but behind like this, that would reach the arm like that and pull out the vent like that. I didn't even realize this. God dang, Eva, how do you even pull this whole thing up though? I cannot believe this.
Set the chair to recline?
All the dining hall chairs have the ability to recline. Some were already set to that position at the start of the tournament, including Ava's. With her chair in recline, Ava can easily reach down and close the vent, without shifting from her position.
Oh my gosh, I did not even realize that exactly. I didn't even realize that chair is a recliner.
It's not perfectly inconspicuous, but it's subtle enough to not catch most people's attention. Especially those focused on watching a video game competition.
You don't blame all of us.
Well, am I wrong?
What you gonna do?
This isn't funny. Just because I was sitting in front of the vent doesn't mean I was the one who triggered the mechanism.
No one can sneak up behind you without drawing attention. Especially when all the lights were still on.
That's just dumb! Where I was sitting shouldn't make me a murderer.
Even so, with everything we've spoken about...
Everything? Did you already forget what was said earlier? Just look at all the items I would need to set up this murder. The battery, the extension cord, the rolling pin, the taser, the syringe, and the supposed drug used with it. How could I have collected all of those things? Wolfgang and everyone else hated me because I lied about my talent. They were on their guard whenever I was around. You think Jet and Desmond would just let me walk into their rooms and take their stuff?
That's true. We still haven't explained how she robbed 2 people's rooms without being caught.
Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, the only problem with this is just, the door wasn't, that lock is broken.
Unless you can prove I had the chance to get all this stuff, you can't make me out to be the killer.
Fine. I'll show proof. Only you could obtain the items necessary for this murder.
Oh boy. What is it? How did Eva obtain the item for the murder? Eva blackmail, even Desmond's blackmail, even asked nicely, even had a hunch. Is it... Oh wait, because Eva got Desmond's blackmail, that she showed it to Desmond.
I got it.
Didn't she?
Ava, you were well aware of the existence of those items.
Yeah, she asked Damien for to have a private conversation, and she showed the blackmail letters to him. They say it belonged to Desmond.
For starters, everyone heard about Jet's battery. It was common knowledge due to his boasting.
Wait, so it's all my fault? Ouch.
Since the dorms aren't locked, he could have easily snuck in and grabbed the battery while no one was inside.
Exactly.
The battery is lightweight too, so you wouldn't have trouble carrying it. For the rest of your plan, the syringe and drugs are both readily available in the pharmacy. And as for the taser, you may not have known about its existence right away, but you still had every incentive to search Desmond's room, because you received his blackmail.
Yep.
Eva? You knew my blackmail this whole time and never said anything?
But I'm not sure what this whole purpose is for.
So what?
Huh?
So what if I knew? I wasn't the only one. Damon knew your blackmail as well.
Oh god, no.
Oh yeah, he read it out loud to everyone earlier, didn't he?
Damon knew almost everything I did. He knew where the items used in this murder were stored. He knew the layout of the boiler room and the storage closets. He knew all sorts of things. The only thing he didn't know is the one thing more important than any piece of physical evidence.
That is...
The hell are you talking about?
See, you still don't know. You still don't know that we never saw eye to eye.
What are you trying to say?
Huh?
Eye to eye... on the not killing each other stuff?
On Wolfgang.
What do you mean by that?
Damon saw the way Wolfgang scolded me and treated me like a bad guy, and he thought I hated him the same way he did.
True.
But unlike Damon, I never wanted Wolfgang to die.
What the?
Whoa! That's a loaded accusation.
I don't like the sound of it.
Not a first for this trial.
If you thought you saw the worst of Damon after the dummy trial, you underestimate just how low he can stoop. I practically risked my life pretending to be his ally, but in return, he let me see the extent of his deceitfulness, which is why I can tell everyone that Damon has Wolfgang's blackmail.
God dang it, now you have to say that out loud? That I have a bad feeling about this. Now everyone's gonna think it's gonna be Damon's fault then.
Oh gosh.
You had to spill everything on, did you, Eva? Eva, you...
Any reason you didn't tell us this earlier?
Well, I didn't think it was incriminating at first.
Not even when he refused to come forward about it?
That was weird, but I didn't want to make accusations at the time because it could have just been his ego talking. Only after watching him reject the taser gun over this dumb mechanism he made up did I realize I had potential evidence on my hands.
Damon, do you have your blackmail on you?
I'm pretty sure you still have it.
Don't worry about reading it out loud or anything. Just show the image. That's all you gotta do.
You gotta do it then? Did Eva really never trust me? Why then? Did she disclose so much to me? Why did she tell me? It's because I trust you. Did everything what she said was all lied? No, this can't be at the forefront of my mind right now. I'm on the cusp of bringing this case to a close. What Ava thinks about me shouldn't matter. What she thinks about me. You took my side way back at the beginning, remember? We were the only people who refused to listen to that lawyer. You helped solve the mystery behind that whole case. No one thanked you though. I'm really sorry about how things turned out. The other students wouldn't have treated you unfairly if it wasn't for me. Damn it! Damn it! This entire time, I've been judging the others for how trusting they are, not even realizing. I was blindly following the words of a stranger. And now, everyone here, they're gonna hold this blackmail crap against me, even more than if I just come forward earlier. Even so, what choice do I have? No one will let the discussion continue unless I tell the truth.
Fine. I'll show it.
You always gotta do it.
But only the picture. As requested.
With those words, I retrieve the envelope from my pocket and pull out the photo.
He's married?
Ingrid, Wolfgang doesn't have blue eyes.
So, who is this then? His parents?
I mean, it has to be his father, right?
I mean, why else would the guy look like him?
Given the year this photo was taken, these two people must be his parents. Look at what's printed at the bottom. April 17th, 2001.
Which I'm not sure what current year we are in.
We know how old Wolfgang is because of the student reports. In 2001, he wasn't even born yet.
But why his parents? Are they being held against their will?
You can't leave us hanging, Damo! You gotta read out what it says!
You sure about that?
That's not what was asked of me. And even if I had to, I don't think someone who can't explain himself should have his secrets revealed to everyone.
Some things are better left unsaid.
For the record, I know what Wolfgang's blackmail says, but it didn't change my outlook on him. I don't think it's possible for anyone to hate someone like Wolfgang. He was always brave in the face of sheer adversity, and encouraged everyone else to act likewise. Wolfgang challenged me to be a better person. Wolfgang challenged all of us to be better people. And maybe Ava simply couldn't rise to his challenge.
Don't listen to him! He's trying to divert everyone from the truth.
Oh, sure, whatever. It's coming from you, Eva.
Even though Wolfgang
Even I
and I
trust
didn't
you all
always
this
see eye
time.
to eye, my respect for him and his talent never wavered. Why would someone like me harm him? Me, who's been leading this trial much the same way he led the one before. I may have questioned the idea no one here would kill, but that doesn't make me someone who wants to see bloodshed.
He does! He does want bloodshed!
Eva, stop it!
We have all the proof he's a cold-blooded killer! Wolfgang's blackmail, which he lied about having!
But wasn't Damon playing?
Nothing he says should be trusted. Nothing he says about me, or anything else.
It is odd that we place faith in a man who does not have faith in us. So much so, these discussions are mostly led by his own conjecture.
Damon isn't the killer, though. Why would he try to mislead anyone?
See? Exactly.
Like, he and I were playing a game when the murder happened, and multiple people can vouch for us.
Not to mention, the things he's been saying make a lot of sense.
Truth has no personal alliance. That's why.
Even if he wasn't here, we'd arrive at the same conclusion anyway.
Depends who you mean by we.
Then, You all still think I'm the killer?
Well, what are you gonna do? Have another argument then?
Someone needs to be voted by the end of this.
Don't just say it like that.
What other choices there, Louise?
Uh,
Is she gonna snap? Oh my god, this is the first time she snapped already.
Yes! My ears!
I know you were next year for some reason.
How would I know? How would I know when to drop it?
Drop what?
The battery! Damon says the killer dropped the battery when Diana was already in the boiler room. But how would I know when Diana was in the boiler room?
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's not as if I could listen out for her. The music speakers are too loud. And the dining hall has no clocks. So it would be impossible for me to know if it was 8:45 a.m.
Damn, Eva, you are gone insane. Even the look on your eyes, though.
Right. Only Mark's DJ pad had a clock.
Maybe Ava asked Mark for the time.
She never spoke to me.
Plus, I'm pretty sure anyone would touch his stuff.
We never spoke. I never even got up from my chair. Besides, how could I be sure Diana arrived on time anyway? If you can't explain how I knew when to drop the battery, then shut up and stop accusing me!
Oh god, yep, she lost her mind now. Even make a decent point. How did she drop the battery in time? Did she just rely on chance? No, that doesn't seem likely. Her entire plan fails if the timing isn't right. Come on, think. If my years of debate have taught me anything, I need to look at this from another angle. If I just take it from the top, while assuming Eva is the killer. Still thinking again? I didn't even know when to drop the battery. She checked the time, she guessed, she heard Diana enter. She saw Diana enter. You heard Diana enter?
I wouldn't be able to hear her over the music.
Dang it. So that it. Did she check their time? No. Maybe she saw that?
I got it.
Ah, she saw it!
The only way the killer would have known when to spring their trap was by seeing Diana enter the room.
How can you receive from a different angle?
Any uncertainty would ruin the plan, and the dining hall was too loud to hear anything over.
So where did she watch Diana from? There was only two possible places. Was it through the vent thing?
Trying to look into the boiler room through the vent is impossible.
Should have known better than to suggest. Was it on the camera?
This is it.
Really, the camera? What's gonna do anything?
It's impossible to see anything from the vent, which means the only way anyone could see into the room was by using the school cameras.
Really? Using Tosu's Jane? If anything, if Tosu wouldn't know this.
Say what?
But how? How does she saw it?
I don't understand how, but Ava must have used the camera.
Is she working with the kidnappers?
I doubt to believe it, but no. Pretty sure she saw through the lens.
Are you kidding me? How the hell would I have access to the camera?
In order to actually see what was happening to the security camera, we'll even need to access to. Naturally, there had been some sort of screen. A screen, huh? To get back on all the various clues we discussed, and keep pinpointing the which could provide an answer to the question. Huh. Feels like deja vu, doesn't it? With no option or rule out, I can only turn towards the one which still remains. One day we yet to discuss. Eva, it's time of bringing an end to what you started. We're gonna do argument thing. For better or for worse, this one will be your final lie.